Hey everybody, Mike Shreve here again. So one of the downsides of walking in the woods is that you lose your internet connection. So we're going to try this one again. Basically what I want to be talking about in this video, and I'll maybe not move around so much. One of the things that I want to talk about in this video is how to increase your fees without basically being disgusting and skeezy and scammy. A lot of marketers out there are going to teach you that the way to increase your fees is to add a 57-step funnel and, use this hardcore closing tactic. Or one of my favorites is say your price on the phone call and then whoever speaks first loses, right? It's ridiculous. All of this stuff is masking a deeper problem, right? So if your tactic or your strategy or your, the best hope you have for increasing your fees is to basically trick clients, what you're going to find very, very quickly is that, one, you might be able to trick a few people. There are gullible people out there and you can trick them and they will give you your money. But then when they find out that you aren't delivering, when they find out that you used a 57-step funnel to convince them, they'll get buyer's remorse. They may say bad things about you. Best case scenario, they'll just be really upset at you and it'll be a very high stress situation for you, right? So what you have to do if you actually want to increase your price is to increase your ability to justify that price. And when I say justify, I don't mean justify with language. I don't mean justify with tactics. I mean to get yourself to a point where what you charge is actually worth more than what you're charging. Now, a lot of people, I think, assume that in order to do that, you have to become a master, which can take 20, 30 years in any creative endeavor to actually become a legitimate master. Or you have to work harder. You have to put in longer hours. You have to somehow be better than you may or may not be right now. And I want to share with you in this video how you don't actually need to take the hard path. There is I don't want to say shortcut because it still takes work, but there is a sort of roundabout way to be able to justify higher prices more quickly. Now, some of you have seen that we're launching the Happy Writer program. We teach people how to get $200, $400 blog posts, many success stories of students being able to achieve that relatively easily. The big shift that we make when we are able to teach someone how to charge that much is that we shift what is called sort of the energy transference concept, which is, this is sort of the concept. I want to teach it to you because hopefully it'll help you with what it is that you're struggling with and being able to charge higher prices. So in order to understand this, I want to take a look at science because I love science. It's the best. If I could just be a scientist, I would just be a scientist. But the first law of thermodynamics states very simply, this is an oversimplification of the law, that all energy can neither be created nor destroyed, right? So the electrical energy that you are using to watch this Facebook Live, the electrical energy that you used to turn your lights on this morning, whether you used gas or power, however you cooked your food this morning, microwave, whatever, all of that energy came from somewhere else. Okay, and trust me, we'll get through the science and then I'll sort of relate it to how you can use that to raise your prices. But if you think about it, if you live in the Northwest, much of your electrical energy comes from the water in the rivers like the Columbia, where I live, pushing through what's a hydroelectric dam, which is to say the water that rushes through the dam, let me just make sure I'm still on, okay, turns a big electrical turbine. So all that force, all the water that's pushing through, turns these big turbines, and the turbines that are turned transfer the energy of the water into electrical energy. Okay, so no energy is created and none of it is really destroyed either. Okay, it just is transferred. And that gives you the electricity in your house. It allows you to do some really, really cool things, play on your computer, or whatever you want to do. The same is true for solar, right? Or wind is another good example. As the wind blows, the turbines turn and it turns into electricity. Okay, so we have the basic concept of the first law of thermodynamics. What in the heck does that have to do with raising our price as a creative? Well, there are three components to that energy transfer. The first is the source itself. So the river or the wind or the sun or the coal, if you're doing coal energy. The second is the mechanism of transfer. So the hydroelectric dam, the solar, the wind turbines, the coal power plant, etc. The burning process of the coal power plant that releases the energy. And then the third component is, of course, the what you could call like the recipient energy. So what that energy is turned into, what that energy becomes. Now, if you understand that those three simple mechanisms, so the source, the mechanism, and then what that energy becomes, or what the recipient receives it as, so in our case, electricity to our house, you can understand the basic mechanisms of how price functions. So price is simply that process in a market. So the market that you and I operate in, and I don't know if you guys can hear that, but no, it's not, nobody's getting shot out here. It's just, they're doing some construction. The market that you and I operate in is pretty close to a free market. Now, it's not exactly a free market, and we could argue about that. And when I say the market that you and I operate in, I'm saying it's not the market that billionaires and Fortune 500 companies operate in, where they get to change the rules. You and I are sort of subject to the rules of the market, the market forces of supply and demand and things like that. So if you and I acknowledge that and acknowledge that there are rules, one of the rules is this rule of energy transfer, which is to say, if you want to raise your price, you have to raise, and sort of stay with me here, the frequency or the energy that you bring to the table. Because the first law of thermodynamics states that energy is neither created nor destroyed. So if you want more energy back, remember the third component of energy, of sort of the energy transfer is what the recipient gets. If you want a higher level of result, if you want more money, it doesn't come out of thin air. That's why I'm telling you, if you're relying on these marketing shmurus and these people that are teaching you, oh, you just have to have another funnel step, that's not how you actually create more money in terms of being able to charge more. It starts with the source, the input. It starts with what it is specifically that you are offering. So let me lay this out in a way that makes a little bit more sense than the current ramblings that I'm going on about. If I come to a client and this is sort of, this is a process that we go through in the Happy Writer program, okay? So some of you know the Happy Writer's for sale right now. It's the last time we're ever launching it. Our students regularly get $200 and $400 blog posts. And some of you are thinking, how the heck are they doing that? It starts with what we bring to the table. There's an old marketing rule. It's called the 40-40-20 rule from a guy named Ed Mayer. Basically says that 40% of any successful campaign is who you're speaking to. Another 40% is what it is that you're offering. And then 20% is the creative, which is, in other words, the copy and the images and all that kind of stuff. If you follow shmurus, they put all the emphasis on that 20%, right? Which is to say, they say, in your script, you need to say this, and when the client gives you this objection, here's what you should say. That's the 20%. Does it move the needle? A little bit. What is at least 2x return is the offer itself, okay? Is the offer itself. Meaning, what you offer to someone is directly reflected in the price that you are able to attract. Okay? Now, some of you are thinking, okay, how do I do this without working 80 hours a week? Because I don't want to work 80 hours a week. I don't want to work harder, right? And I'm here to tell you, it's not about working harder. So making a better offer, so increasing the energy you bring to the table so that the energy you receive, aka the money that you receive, think about the first law of thermodynamics, is not about working harder. It's about, remember the second step of the 3 steps that I was talking about with the law of thermodynamics. The first is the source. The second is the mechanism of transfer, which is to say, let me give you an example here in the law of thermodynamics. Coal power, where you take a piece of coal, you release that energy by burning it, and then you transfer that to someone's house, electricity, whatever, is way less efficient than nuclear fusion or other forms of electricity, which is to say, a nuclear power plant is significantly more efficient at creating larger amounts of energy than a coal power plant. Therefore, the law of thermodynamics says the mechanism by which you transfer the exchange of energy, or in the case of a marketplace, the exchange of value, the mechanism by which you deliver that source energy, that source value, is what actually creates that third step, which is what the recipient receives. Therefore, those of you who are struggling with your price and you can't seem to get it above a certain level, clients just, they can't, you're struggling with them accepting even low prices, and you're thinking to yourself, why is there no clients that exist out there that are willing to pay me even a half decent, fee for what it is I'm offering? The reason is because the offer that you've created, this thing that transfers all of your energy as a person, your creative energy, your willingness to help them, all of that is being hindered by the inefficient delivery of that exchange. So let me give you an example. In Happy Writer, in the program that we're selling, it's until I think February 1st is when we're closing the doors. In Happy Writer, you will not find us talking about how to say the right word and and how to trick your clients. You're not going to hear us say, go find 500 clients and it's just a numbers game. We spend 95% of our time in that program on changing the value of the blog posts that you create. Fundamentally changing the offer that you provide to clients. That's why it's so easy for our students to get $200, $300, $400 for a blog post. It's because when they're having a conversation with their clients, they're talking about something way different than even you are likely talking about with your clients right now. Now, this isn't just for writers. So maybe you're a photographer. And I saw this example in another group I'm in. This lady, she has a business where she helps photographers to get better clients. And what her program does is it focuses entirely on the offer. It focuses entirely on what these photographers are offering to their clients. That's the whole program. It's like a $5,000 program, and all it does is it helps them focus on one thing. And do you know what it is? What she helps those photographers create is I think it's called boudoir. It's a boudoir photography business. And the genius behind her program, and her students do like really, really amazing, really, really crazy results, like get to 6 figures and all this kind of stuff. But the value of her program is that because she's changed the nature of what the photographers bring to the table as the source of the energy. And when I say energy, I'm talking about value, the source of the value. What the recipient receives, and it's very interesting how her students and how the clients of her students talk. This boudoir photography thing, and your mileage may vary on this concept, but this boudoir photography thing, the clients, it's so much more than just like a headshot. It's so much more than just a, standard professional, whatever. the clients of these photographers express and talk about things like, I felt empowered, I felt connected, I was changed by this experience. What you're talking about is essentially a higher level of energy experienced by the recipient of this particular service. Therefore, it justifies the higher price. So again, when we talk about, so for example, in Happy Writer, when we teach people how to write $200, $400 blogs, we are ultimately aiming to have the recipient of that service experience a much higher level of result than they've ever experienced before, which naturally justifies the price. And you only have to do that once or twice for clients. Then here's what your marketing script becomes. Let me tell you a story. Okay, this is me basically doing the conversation. Okay, I'm having a conversation with a client. I've adjusted my services and my offers to deliver a higher level of value. And I've done it through changing the offer, which is the mechanism that transfers my energy into something that can be consumed by the end user. And my energy is my energy. It's me as a person. I'm coming to the table. So 3 concepts of the core idea that I'm sort of using as an example here of the first law of thermodynamics. Here's the conversation that you have with your clients after you do this 2 or 3 times for other clients. So, so basically what we can do, Mr. Client, is, I can tell you a little bit about my services. I think what I'll do is I'll probably just tell you a little bit about what happened when I did this for someone else. So what happened when I did this for someone else is da-da-da-da, et cetera, here's a blah, 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 blah. So you talk about the end result. You talk about the energy change that occurred, the value change that occurred with your past clients. Some of you who are struggling to get prices right now, the story you would tell is not very attractive. Not because you didn't work hard, not because you aren't amazing, not because you aren't talented, but it's because that mechanism, the thing that takes all of your efforts, all of your interests, all of your desires, all of you as a person, this wild force of energy, like the Columbia River, right? You're a human being and you're just like, what am I going to do? The mechanism that you used to transfer that energy to someone else was not good enough. I mean, it wasn't equivalent, it was inefficient, and it wasn't equivalent to what you likely could do in your full potential. Hey. So the idea here that we're looking for is tweaking your offer, and specifically tweaking your offer to answer the question, which this very, very simple question, which is, what is the highest result that I can deliver, and what do I need to change about my service right now that would deliver that highest result? In the Happy Writer program, we have that all outlined for you. That's why we sell it, right? It's not so that you can learn how to write. It's so that you can learn how to write the highest version, the highest form of a blog post, so that your marketing language and your how to get clients becomes just you talking about the end result of that effort. All right, my dear friends. So I wanted to try this out as a form of content to see if it would work. Just in terms of, talking about things outside of business. To really quick recap would be the law of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics basically states there is no energy created or destroyed. And I realize that this post probably sounds a little bit woo-woo to some people, but y'all should know I'm not really woo-woo at all. And what I'm finding is that natural laws and laws of physics pertain to business because we aren't separate from natural laws. Business still operates within this universe, right? So, the first law of thermodynamics states that no energy is created or destroyed. It can only really be transferred from one form to another. And there are really 3 steps to that process. There's the source energy, which, for example, would be the Columbia River. There's the mechanism that transfers that energy. That would be the hydroelectric dam. And then there's the sort of new energy as received by the recipient, in this case, electricity to your house. You are the source energy. You are the person who shows up with just, what can I do? How can I do it? How can I change all of these desires and my willingness to help people and my desire to make financial income? How can I transfer that into something that gets me paid? The mechanism by which you transfer that energy is the offer that you bring to the marketplace. And the thing that is experienced on the other end, that's your client getting the results. If you want to get paid a higher price, you have to raise the level of the value that is experienced by your client. That's the trick. It's not a script. It's not a funnel. It's not a strategy. It's not a tactic. It's basic thermodynamics, which is to say, if you want more, you have to deliver more, because no energy is created or destroyed. So, Happy Writer. This, for those of you who want to do blog posts, who want to add blog posts to your business, who maybe are struggling to get paid well, the Happy Writer program is built specifically to help you with that middle piece. Even if you're an amazing writer, we can help you to create a better offer that delivers better results, which naturally, without having to struggle, without having to trick clients, delivers better, an easier ability to justify higher pricing. And then when you talk to clients, it makes so much sense to them. They're like, oh yeah, I totally understand how this is well worth $200, $400 per blog post. Okay, my friends? So that is it for today's piece of content. Thank you for those of you who struggled with me through the Internet in the Woods debacle. We're still going to do a bunch of these, and I'm going to try and find the sweet spots in the woods here. And we'll do these. Again, I'd like to try and be every day again. I do enjoy doing these videos, so we'll see. For those of you who are thinking about Happy Writer, please do know that this is it. We are never going to be launching this program ever again. And the reason for that is not because it's a bad program. It's actually because it's such a good program. We are combining it with, some of you are familiar with our Triple Point program, which is a program specifically for writers who want to reach that six-figure level. Triple Point program pricing starts at $4,000. So Happy Writer will be, after February 1st, the only way you'll be able to access that training is if you become part of our Triple Point program, right? So that's because we are taking the Happy Writer components and we are putting them into Triple Point. If you are, you just want the blog portion, maybe you don't want to join that main core program, the date for that ends on February 1st. So my good friends, I hope that you're having an amazing Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody. Take a moment to think about what that means. This is a good day to sort of sit and remember and talk about and think about increasing the value that you bring to the market. I think it's a and not just, to the market, but to the world, really. I think this is an appropriate day to sort of consider that as a guiding principle of your business, rather than how can I trick people into giving me money, right? So all that energy that you spend researching what's the perfect script and what's the perfect marketing plan and what's the perfect thing to say, transfer that energy to simply answering the question, what can I offer to people? Or how can I tweak my current offers? Or how can I change what it is that I'm selling as a service to bring higher level results to those I'm serving? And the answer to those questions is ultimately what will allow you to justify higher pricing. All right, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Monday, and I'll see you around.